Parks and Recreation Commission. It's good to have some folks here tonight. We're going to start with our roll call, please.
Commissioner Sherman, here. Commissioner Bellamo.
Here.
Commissioner Stanton. Here. Commissioner Shebrol, not here. And Chair Dodrell.
I'm present. Thank you. So we have a consent agenda, which consists of our minutes of the last meeting. They've been given to us. So if you've read those and we can approve them, can somebody make a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Kalika. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? All right. First opportunity for comments from city folks. So Pat, you're here. Good to have you here again. Thank you for taking the time.
I know I've been here a lot. But we still have a lot of complaints. And we really don't understand when this all took effect, that we weren't notified at the beginning of everything. Because you all knew many, many years before we all got into this. We don't understand, and I understand that you still have to do a lot of planning and talking and bargaining, but it seems like every time we get in here, you hear us complain, but we don't get any written how it's going, what's been diagnosed, or where everything's going, what's going on. We kind of get in here and we're playing a cat and mouse game. And it's really not fair, because we are the ones that are living this. You all are making the decision on what our lives are going to turn out to be. And I don't see any of you walking around talking to the neighbors, finding out who has got disability, who is living next to the greenway, who has animals that can't have people and running around and all this stuff. Like I said, we are the ones that are getting screwed all the time when you guys are all trying to take care of our lives. And there's plenty of parks, plenty of areas. Why can't you just let us be happy? Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. And if the city hasn't replied with acknowledgement of your comments, I apologize for that. We've taken surveys and had all kinds of input. Just so you understand the process, that comes to the committee and we take time to read it. And we're here tonight and hopefully we'll have a decision made for you. Okay, so all the comments are received and appreciated. And I think mentioned early on, this is a slow process. It's actually intended to be a slow process, just for the very reason we have tonight, so you can have input. So thank you for coming.
I understand slow, I understand cautious, I understand everybody's busy. But we're the ones that are still in the middle, not knowing quite what's gonna happen. And it's unfair for us.
All right, well, we'll see if we can make a decision tonight. That, I don't know, maybe it'll be pleasing. I'm not quite sure where that decision is going to go. So thank you again for being here, Pat. So on to commission business. So we have had in front of us the Campanella Park discussion and need for a decision for a while. There's been lots and lots of input, both vocally here and through a survey that was given to all the people at Campanella Estates. And a draft idea was presented months ago with all kinds of features in the park. And so we're here today to try to find out what we need to adjust. And again, just to clarify, there's no construction happening anywhere there this year at all. When I say this year, this fiscal year, which is up to June, end of June. So as we make a decision, what that allows the city to do is then do the engineering so that construction can start sometime in the future. So I have lots of thoughts, but I'll just open it up to the committee at this point. If you have some thoughts you'd like to just put on the table to get the discussion going, I'll be quiet and allow some comments.
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I looked over all the surveys, things that we got a couple weeks ago and responses from everybody. And knowing everything we put in before the subdivision was built, and everything we wanted there, like seeing the plan and what it looks like, and then hearing from you guys. I think my biggest thing and what was like the number one on here is making a playground. And I don't know, we talked about before, maybe not having the inclusive playground there, but I've been looking at some ideas. So I was really thinking about that bigger kid playground and making elements that would make it inclusive, like mainly the ground cover of that. And I know we also, is that on the agenda? We also got that information about the splash pad and like why we aren't putting it at Wade Creek. Is that in here too? I didn't look yet.
Right, that was in there also.
I read that before. So I don't know if we want to discuss that part as well. But for me, looking over what is really wanted there is that playground piece. And that's just one thing. And I really feel like, originally we had that little one put in by the builder with the plans for the larger one. It is a huge neighborhood with a lot of kiddos down there. People do use the path a lot. They use the playground a lot. There's always people walking, riding bikes around there when I'm down there. So that's my number one, but my concern with the splash pad situation is it's been going on since before I was here. And I know a lot of people, that's like a hot topic. So I don't know where we're going with that.
Okay.
That's
What I
kinda
heard
my-
you say is of all the features that were originally designed for this, the one that seems to be resonating with you is that all-inclusive playground. And we would, if we do decide that, we'd have to decide where that's going to go. Thank you, Gina, for those
Mhm.
comments.
I would agree with the playground, since there's already a playground there. It's for little kids, and if you have a family with little kids and big kids, I think having an extension of a playground would be great to allow for multi-ages, since the one really is targeted for small.
Okay.
And I would agree also with Gina on the splash pad. Like, I feel like we're between like a rock and a hard spot, because you've got people petitioning that we have to have a splash pad, and we have people who are really not wanting that also to go in. And I don't know that we really have a different place. I'm not sure where it would go.
Yeah.
I feel like someone's gonna be really angry at us no matter what decision is made regarding the splash pad.
All right. Vincent, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, mostly what I would say is it's mostly just striking a balance between the people who live in the area and the other majority of people who also live in Estacada and would like a park there. Like, I understand the people who live there, they should get, obviously, you guys are doing the surveys. You guys should have a voice. It's gonna be in your neighborhood, but there are 48 other 100 people who live here as well, who would also very much like a park. And like, for me personally, I think having a playground for the kids would be a nice thing. The splash pad, it sounds like that's pretty polarizing one way or another. I think for me, that would be like, so the kids could have like an all-inclusive playground and a place to go play and hang out and do that type of thing would be good for the community overall.
Okay. So there's a number of features that started out in this park that sounds like, because they weren't mentioned, we can exclude the dog park, the There was that cornhole thing that went away. Pickleball. And certainly the pickleball makes sense to me because not that I've ever played a lot of it. It does have some noise involved, so it makes sense not to surround it by homes. So it sounds like what remains then is the playground for older children. And I think this committee, going back years ago, liked the idea of trying to do something all-inclusive someplace in the city. And so this seems like if we narrow the focus to that project in this park, an all-inclusive playground, I think that we could do something good and make it accessible to everybody. I do think putting the splash pad here is just going to polarize and create all kinds of ongoing problems. So the report we got from the quote professional said it is a challenge to put it at Wade Creek Park. But I'm comfortable at this point because I think maybe not a majority, but a good percent of the city council at this point would like to see it not in Campanella, that we say, okay, it's not going in Campanella. If it can go in Wade Creek Park in some way, I think they're going to have to do some major construction to make that happen, and nobody knows what that price tag is yet. So I am comfortable if there's a consensus to just limit the expansion of this park to that all-inclusive playground and the parking that was added. So if you have one of those maps in front of you, I don't know which one it is, the one I have has one that says phase 2 L1. It has additional parking on each side of the road through the park and then additional parking down at the far end. And it seems like hearing the concerns, one of the major concerns was parking. So I think we should put as much parking in as possible to keep the cars off the streets. I'm sorry, ma'am. There was a chance for comments. Okay, this isn't an ongoing conversation between us and you at this point. Okay, thank you. So, the question, if we're going to go that route with just the playground, the question is, do we want to tuck it back over there where we had that splash pad at one point? Again, it keeps us further from the road and as far as possible from many homes, or keep it just right across the creek from the little playground. Thoughts on that?
So both areas, I was looking at it more closely the other day. So the area where it's currently drawn on phase 2 L1, the one that you're looking at.
Yeah.
So that is a really large area, and it could, this one?
Because they're both
Oh.
phase 2 L1. Are you looking at
This
the
one.
conceptual or the revised?
Oh.
I believe it's the
This one.
revised one.
Okay, never mind. I'm talking about the
Just
other
wanna make sure
one.
we get the right one.
Thank you, because
Yeah.
they both are labeled the same. So both of those areas, the one where it was originally and the second one are both pretty large areas. That second one is where we started that last run.
Right.
And that's a pretty big area. The other one across the street is also pretty large and can be further back from those homes as well. It's on the other side of the path and back down pretty far. I think Kalika, that we had talked about it being on the same side, so we're not crossing the road.
Yep.
For safety for kids. So if you have like, a 3 or 4-year-old that's playing on the playground and your other child wants to play on the other playground, that they're right there. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are. I'm looking at this one just so you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this space.
So we're suggesting moving it from here to here.
Right.
Okay. Yes, that's the one I'm looking at, yes. Here. You're welcome. I think I think it's good. The spot where that splash pad was is nice because it's really far away, but then my concern is kids going back and forth across the road. I like that it's further from houses, but I'm worried about them going back, because that is, now that there are more homes in there, that is pretty busy. You know, my girls and I used to do that often on the bikes. And we usually never had to stop to cross, like we could just cross, and now there is definitely a lot more traffic when we cross for that path.
That would be the all-inclusive one where the bigger kids would play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know your thoughts on that. I mean, because there's the difference between the space but both spaces are pretty decently, they're pretty good size. I do wonder though, this one, where we started the run before, the one where it's drawn on right here, that gets pretty, there's like that downhill slope. So I don't know about like drainage in there, and it's closer to the wetland.
With the all-inclusive playground, that's going to be a playground that is usable for all ages. They will have stuff for
Yeah.
little kids as well as big kids. Whereas I think initially I was thinking it was going to be, we've got the little kid playground and then like a playground that's for, they've got like the 5 and under and then 5 to 12 grouping. But I think an inclusive playground would be an all-encompassing
Everybody.
where it might not be as big of a deal because you would be very intentionally going to one or
And then we
to
could,
the other.
so we could put it back here.
That's what I was possibly thinking in part to appease the neighborhood.
I think it makes more sense to leave it where it is, just because it would be quieter for everyone.
Leave it where,
This, so wait, which one are you?
Like leave the big one next to the church, right?
Yeah.
So where the splash pad is?
Yeah.
That's a splash pad in that
Yeah.
picture.
But we understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Which is this one.
So you're saying put the playground basically up against the parking lot of
Yeah,
the church.
yeah. Oh, I am. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that makes, yeah. That way it's as far away as possible from the houses, and it leaves that essentially as a green space behind the houses.
Yeah, because
Right.
then the path is still there in between, plus on the other side of the path, there is a pretty decent sized green space between those homes and the path right there. Like when you're looking at it in real life on here, it doesn't look as big, but there's a decent amount of space there. And it's close to the covered picnic tables wheel.
Yeah, I think that would probably make the most sense.
Kalika, can you agree with that? Putting in by the church? Yeah, by that, right up against that fence. Gina?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that does, if there was concern about noise and privacy, it seems like it keeps all of that traffic and all of that noise not near any homes, which I think is probably a good thing. So here's what it sounds like, if I can say this so that Taryn can make sure it gets transferred up to the city council. The pickleball court is no longer, the splash pad is no longer in this area. What remains are the parking areas in order to keep parking off the street and eliminate traffic concerns. And then an all-inclusive playground would be tucked back. I don't know what direction that is exactly, but by the church parking lot back over there, okay?
With that, can we still add some of like maybe the picnic tables and restroom, or not restroom, sorry, I read the word restroom as I was talking. But we had scattered a few more. So right now there's a couple benches along the path. But we had talked about like adding more picnic tables and things. What do you guys think about that? Or like maybe one on the other end, because it is like a nice little,
like in the green space
Area.
areas.
like just maybe a couple
you
of
could
them.
So you could either do, like, we could put some picnic tables, or you could do like how I was thinking, like initially, like with the native plant garden for the butterflies and stuff, you could put that there and people could like walk by it as they're going by on the walking trail or something. We could do like more of like a beautification thing when you put a picnic table or two next to it,
Mhm.
and it would still keep it green, and then it'd be good for the pollinators.
I think we had like 4 This one had more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not to make it more complicated. I just know like right now, cause like the girls and I have gone and had picnics in the summer, and right now if someone's like the daycare was using like the picnic tables under the cover a lot, and then there's a couple benches, but it would be nice if there was another couple picnic tables. They could be spread out.
I think that'd be fine. You just have to decide where we
Where?
want those exactly, and I don't have any preference, you know. I honestly don't get to the park too often, except when my grandkids are around. So if you use that often, you might know the best spot where those need to go. If we need some, there's nothing on the other side of
Far end.
that water, is there? As far as sitting areas or anything?
I'm trying to think.
No,
So
I
there's a
think it's-
bench, right now, there's a bench like here by the one exit off. I don't think there's a bench on the other side. I can't remember. I can't remember.
Let's also just put in the minutes that we'll have probably some additional benches or tables, location to be determined. That's not an engineering thing really. And then Vincent also mentioned, did you mention a,
Pollinator garden. we
yeah,
talked about
following, yeah,
From the first drafts.
right. So that's something that, again, is not necessarily an engineering piece, so we could just make sure though it's in the minutes. Everybody okay with that decision then? Leaky, all right? So let's talk a little bit about the pickleball courts. I want to, if it's okay with you guys, push up to the city council to see if we could maybe begin the research for putting pickleball courts down at the portal. There's a large grassy area there. That was one of the concerns. One of the concerns for having the splash pad down there was it's kind of secluded. But with pickleball, I don't think that would be a problem because it's just an adult game at this point.
And I think that'd be great for the portal because there would be more traffic there and it would weed out
Yeah.
some of the unwanted things that happen there. I think that's a
Yeah.
great idea. I would agree.
Okay.
The portal.
The portal, you know where Timber Park is? Timber Park across the road where
On
the
the highway.
waste treatment plant.
Yeah.
Okay. A little parking area there. There's a restroom that's called the Estacada Portal. It is technically a park, but they call it a portal for some reason.
Got it.
All right. And there's a large parking area there, a restroom, little bridge over the creek that goes to Timber Park, and a large grassy area that's got, I think, 2 picnic tables in it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll start exploring that. And then as far as the splash pad, again, I think it just needs to show that if it's feasible to put the splash pad in Wade Creek Park, let's start exploring that. It sounds like there could be some hindrances to making that happen. Sounds like the drain line's got to be a whole new drain line that goes in. So again, it might not be feasible. And if that's the case, it pushes the splash pad down the road a little bit further. Did you get all that, Taryn? All right, thank you for you guys considering all the data that was there, and appreciate all the input in that. We have another park to consider, the Cascadia Ridge Park, and some good information in the packet concerning that. I was driving up there today and I've had a little bit of correspondence with one of the neighbors. And I'll just say, I don't have a big preference of what sort of features go in here. I'm going to defer to the rest of the committee, but I'm going to suggest that we keep it snugged up against that other boundary there. So that little map where they have now, it just needs to be pushed further up the map and probably turned a little bit. So it's just kind of snugged up in that corner. Because again, if there's any noise issues there, it just mitigates it with those neighbors.
I 100% agree. I was emailing with her. I can't remember what her name is. The neighbor right here.
Right. Right.
I was emailing with her as well, and she was very concerned because they were measuring right by her house, and she wasn't gonna be able to be here tonight, and I told her we were aware, so. I agree, if we rotated it just a little bit to the right and scooted it back, I think it would be great,
Okay.
or up, or whatever, you know.
Which street would it be off of?
It's Gardner. So if you go up Cascadia Ridge,
Mhm.
there's a T, you turn right. Well, you're looking at a map like that, so I don't know what direction you turn.
Yeah, yeah,
There's a dead end there.
yes,
Mhm.
yeah, I see it. Okay, that makes sense.
So if we tuck it up there, I'll just open up a discussion if anybody has any strong opinions about the different features. I'm with you.
All right. I have one opinion.
Okay.
I really would love for the ground cover to not be bark chips and to be that rubber. I know originally, like initially it's going to cost more, but I think upkeep of it would be less. And then again, kids can play on it. There's this sweet little boy. He's in kindergarten. He has a walker and he's so fast. And then he hits the bark and it just, and you know, I don't know where he lives necessarily in Estacada. But I just kind of think about him and everything we're doing. And I think that that would be really cool. I know bark chips, you have to constantly like replenish. So I don't know the price difference there, but seeing this, I was thinking about that. It's also really nice to land on and for, you know, not getting in your shoes.
Right.
But that I was thinking that would be nice. I have no idea how big of a price difference that is or what that would look like, but that was something. And then just making sure it was pushed was my other
Okay.
concern with that.
Taryn, we had Martha, who is with Oregon Playground Design, and she's the one that gave us these options. Is that correct? She zoomed in, so.
Oh,
maybe I'll
awesome.
get comments from her. Hello, Martha, can you hear us?
Hi, I can hear you.
Good. Yeah, thank
How
you
are
for
you?
being here and thank you for giving us these options concerning the playground. Hey, there you are. All right. So one of our commissioners, committee members just talked about having the instead of having bark dust for the cover, having something hard. Can any of these playground features be put on a different surface or a hard surface or whatever that's called?
Absolutely. There's lots of options for surfacing.
Okay.
The bark chips are what we call engineered wood fiber, and that's the lowest in terms of a price point initially, and then it just has to be topped off about every 3 years. And then there's tiles, there's poured in place rubber, there's artificial turf, just lots of, and there's shredded rubber, which wouldn't help the accessibility. But yes, there's lots of options.
Okay. And I did have a conversation with Melanie, our city manager, and she said the more all-inclusive surface is feasible, especially since the only thing we're putting in here at this point is this one area. So she thinks the budget would probably be able to handle that.
Martha, when you said tiles, are you talking about like the rubber tile? Like you can like see the outline of the squares, but it's like rubbery. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, yeah, they're 2x2 interlocking tiles.
We just played on a playground with that this last weekend. That's what I
Yeah.
was asking.
Yeah,
And the other one you mentioned that's hard, for lack of a better reason, it's there's no seams in it. It's more just one area, one full area.
if it's a big area, so what it is it's a poured rubber surface, so
Right.
it has the rubber buffings underneath to give it the cushion and the impact attenuation, and then it's got a top layer of what we call the wear course. If it's a really big playground and they have to install it over several days, then there will be seams, and what we usually recommend is some kind of design. But it by the natural elements that it's, I mean, the way it's put down, there are no seams.
Right.
It's basically like frosting a cake.
And that method is the more expensive than the tile.
It is, yeah. Well, let me step back. I thought you were going to say wood fiber. So Yes and no. The tiles are less than the rubber surface, but with tiles, ideally you need a concrete base. So that drives the price way up. So by the time you do a concrete base for the tiles and then the perimeter and everything, and then the installation of the tiles, it's about the same cost. The poured rubber can go on, it can actually go on dirt. It can go on just like a 2-inch compacted aggregate base. So it doesn't need that concrete.
Okay.
I can tell you the pluses and minuses of them both if you want to know that.
Well, let us spend a little bit of time. Again, Kalika, do you have a choice on which one of these features you would like best? I'm looking to you guys, because you got some kids that,
Yeah,
you know,
my
play.
kids are past this,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
well, I liked the dragonfly one, but because it had a slide as well as things like when I looked at them, I like the blue one has the slides, which is fun, but there's not as much for a variety of kids. The dragonfly one still had a slide, but it also had things to climb on, and the other one was mostly things to climb on that it's harder for little kids to do much. I thought the dragonfly was kind of like in the middle, but I'm not. super
Vincent, you have any
opinionated.
thoughts?
I think I agree with that. I think the dragonfly looks like it's a good combination between climbing and being able just to walk on it and slide down.
Does it have like an age range on
These
it?
are all rated for 2 to 5.
2 to 5?
So younger age, okay.
Yeah, I'm looking, Melanie's initial request was for ages 1 to 6, or Elena's, I'm sorry, for ages 1 to 6. And the way that playground safety standards go, it's 2 to 5 and 5 to 12.
Okay.
So to get those littler ones, I'd need to go 2 to 5.
Then there's another feature here. It's looks like a kind of disc swing. Is that the same age group as well? 2 to 5?
Yes.
Okay.
That's 2 to 5 and 5 to 12. And these can be played on by bigger kids also.
Right.
There's just certain design elements that are geared for the littler ones.
Yeah, I think I'm between either the blue one or the dragonfly one. Right,
Which blue one, Vincent? There's 2 kind of blue.
the
ones.
first one,
The first one?
yeah, with the rock climbing.
And you should have color options there. So
Yeah.
just know that these can be any combination of colors that you want. They don't have to be these colors.
Can't believe you gave us so many colors.
I was very
Like,
It's
that's
excited.
always the hardest part. It is always the hardest part.
I'll
All
tell
right,
you.
before we get into colors, are we gonna go with the dragonfly one? Everybody okay with that? Gina, can you
I
live
am
with that?
fine with the dragonfly.
Okay. So going to dragonfly along with that swing, the
Yeah.
arch swing,
Mhm.
I love this.
and
Mhm.
okay. I don't know how you want to do this color thing.
Well, I already have an opinion if you want. to
All
hear
right,
it.
let's start with
I-
the bin.
I really like the bio one because it's more natural and what's up there. There's huge big trees behind it and it's just like tan and brown and greens and I feel like it would.
Actually, I was gonna say the bayou one too, because the slides probably wouldn't get very hot in the summer, like they wouldn't absorb as much heat as like a
Mm.
darker color.
Mm.
All right.
So
Kalika,
with
you have-
that, you can choose a color scheme like that. And if you want to customize the little dragonfly to be a different color, you can definitely do that too.
Oh my goodness.
As it is right now, if you just did the Bayou color theme, his wings would be green, but not that shade of green that you see there. It's a darker green. And his body would be champagne, so it'd be the same color as the slides.
Hmm.
So sometimes people want to do, maybe like a
Something
I don't
bright.
know, a different color just to kind of make him pop, be different.
Kalika's our artist.
I think it'd be fun if it was a different color right there in the middle, but
I do.
make it stand out.
We're gonna defer to Kalika on the color of the
What color?
dragonfly.
Ivy.
Because I think she'll do fine.
So let me tell you where we're looking, what colors we're looking at. On the page that shows all the rows of colors, where it says color options. So the second column is plastic, so that would be his body.
Okay.
And then the fourth column, 2-color HDPE, that would be his wings. So as it is in the picture right now, he's the spring green with white, so it's etched. So the white is just like etching marks, kind of like the sample shows
Uh-huh.
on the picture. So you can do, you know, any of those combinations.
And actually, having made the major decision on what we want to put it in there and where we want to put it, Kalika, you can think about this and just, I mean, it doesn't have to be made right
Okay.
now. You're good with that?
I'm
Are
good
we
with
okay
that.
with deferring to Kalika on this decision?
Well, if anyone has a strong opinion, you can email me. We can work it out.
All right. Well, I think we've made the decision on what we want and where we want it, and then Kalika will get back as far as all the final colors. And so Martha, and then as far as the surface, I really like that poured surface. I've been on a few playgrounds with the poured surface. If anybody, everybody okay with the poured surface?
Yes.
And then we will kick that up to the city manager, see if that all fits in the budget. Okay,
Okay,
all right.
sounds good. All right.
Appreciate you
Well,
being here
thank you.
tonight to just guide us in that and for the great options. So thank you very much, Martha.
Well, thank you for having me. I'll let you get back to your meeting.
All right, thanks.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Man, we're flying. What making major decisions here. All right. We're at the trick or trot. Are we having people sign up?
Oh, yes. So, their sign up was kind of slow. So Tara today posted, another thing and I shared it out and we did it with a little link that they could click on because all they've had so far is online where they can see the QR code, which then you'd have to like have it on a computer and get out your phone. So we haven't seen very much. But then just today she posted it and I had like 12 people registered and now I have 40, they just checked it, 46 or something. She posted it at like, was that at noon-ish, I
Good,
think?
good.
So, and Maggie Kelly sent it out to all the schools for me. So it was in the school newsletter this week. And it will continue on until the event happens. And then it's going out in the water bill right there. And I think once that happens, when people have the paper and they can scan it, then it will help too. The first time we posted it on Facebook, it was just the flyer and you can't, like, you know what I mean? You can't access it unless you have 2 devices. So I think it's going to go up quite a bit now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have more stuff for us. They got down the medals and stuff. I bought more medals in case, and so now we're good for like next year too. That's what got posted online. And I got more goodies for us. I brought a sampling if you guys want to see really quick. There are little like things and these bags and Aubrey helped me pick and little like Halloween maze things. And then I did get glow sticks, but they don't break. They're the ones that go on, they're necklace ones. So they still have something to keep them safe when they're trick or treating. Bag that they can use while they trick or treat. These are the new medals. They say trick or trot on the back, just like last year, no date, so they can be reused. Same ribbon as last year, but they didn't have the same piece. So
All
we
right.
don't have to worry about having too many kids sign up and not having enough stuff. And then I also put on the registration a link so they could print out the waiver, and then there's a question right above it that says like, yes, I was able to print out my waiver and do not need one, or no, please bring a waiver for me to sign, so we know how many copies we'll need to bring to have signed on the day of. So there's that piece.
Okay.
Okay.
So the day of,
Mhm.
just a reminder, I'm not here, which is not that big of a deal. We would want to get a canopy from the city and a table. And then the banners. I think we had 2 banners are upstairs in the storage area. Taryn, can I ask you to make sure those got down from there? There's little signs as well, yeah. Okay. Vincent, are you available for this event?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
No problem.
So could we task you with picking up the banners and whatever else the city has, the city canopy? The city has a folding table? Okay. No, one of those, okay. And get it to the park there, Campanella Park. At what time? This thing starts at 3, so we want everybody to try to get there at 2.
I think that'd be fine.
Okay,
Okay, get there right too. Yeah. that's
yeah,
cool.
2:00 on the 29th.
They store them here or in that shed that's over by,
No, they storm here, and I hope Taryn will have the stuff from upstairs down, and then you'll just have to get the canopy, which they store right outside here in one of these rooms.
okay.
Yeah, so just come by here. What day of the week is this happen?
It's on Saturday, this Saturday.
So you need to pick it up Thursday?
Thursday.
So yeah, you'll need to pick it up Thursday.
Perfect. And if you want to send me a reminder email, that'd be great. Oh, okay. Perfect.
And I will email, Taryn, who should I email because you won't be here to like print off enough waivers? Sadie or Tracy?
Any specific time I would come? To 5? Oh, perfect. Cool. And then just bring it back Monday? Perfect.
Okay. So we set up the canopy, the table, so we have the forms there, and then
Yeah.
how do we do
did-
that? We give the bags out afterwards?
We gave them, so last time they didn't have access to the waiver ahead of time. And so it was like, as soon as you fill out a waiver, you get a bag. And we gave it to them before, but this time, because some people are doing it ahead, maybe we do metal and bag at the same time at the end. I don't know what you guys think. Yeah,
Okay.
because then the parents were having to hold the stuff. But we had enough people to help. I don't know, did anyone reach out to Jerry Tenbush's daughter about, I know she wanted to be involved again. I don't know how to contact
Let me do that.
her. Because they were really awesome last time about helping us hand out the medals. They were great. And we have our Frankenstein arch thing. He got a hole in him last year. I pulled him out from under the house. We're gonna look at him to see if he can still be our finish line. If not, we'll just be standing there and it will be the finish line. He was really awesome last year, but he got a tear and I don't know how he'll do. So he's out sitting on the hallway floor and we have to check him. I don't know if he'll be
Alright.
available or not.
Maybe for a little tape will work. All
Yeah.
right. So Stephen does a great job getting everybody started. So we'll leave that to him. And they'll run and have a great time. I think the event at the library is finishing a little
2:30,
early.
yeah, they switched
So
it for
everybody
us.
can come over. So that's nice. I appreciate them adjusting for that. All right. Appreciate you guys making that all happen. We have a plan. Okay. All right. Next thing on the agenda is winter event. And this is, we did a candy cane hunt in the past, which simply consisted of a little piece of paper that had clues. People went around and took photos. of them and the candy cane things they found. So the question is, do we want to do anything like that? Or that event again, maybe in January? I think that's when we did it.
Did we do
We
the
did in
candy cane?
December.
Yeah, I think we did it in December, but did we skip it last
We did.
year? So we did it one year, we didn't do it last year, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
So we did the trick or treat, and we had other things, so it wasn't the same thing. Because it was just at all the parks.
I love the candy cane hunt. But I don't know how we make it more, I mean, maybe it's been over a year, so maybe they've,
I can work on other clues. We can do something, I mean, do the same thing, but not the same clues. I can come up with different hints or a puzzle or something.
how many
I'm gonna
candy
click on
canes did we have?
I don't know, they're all at my house.
So did you guys like hide like a big candy cane somewhere and then have them take a picture of it and bring it back? Like,
It's like this big
Mhm.
printed on like the stuff that like political signs are, like the yard signs, yeah, and then we put them up at, they were actually at each park, somewhere in each park.
And there was a clue. like
Yeah.
A hint or a riddle or something.
And they, I don't forget, they just filled that out and turned the form in and then we sent them a gift card.
I
Mhm.
think so, because it was during COVID. We had
COVID.
to
Yeah.
do it all virtually.
Here's what's happening with Wade Creek? Like when is, I know June was our plan for that opening for the last phase. But I mean, there's a lot of places that we could even hide multiple there once that is open, but I know it's kind of standstill.
It should be done
Okay,
next month, I think.
okay. Because that has so many spots now with the new, and it would be a great way to get
amphitheater.
people out there since it's not opening in the summer and it's gonna open when weather starts being not as nice. That would be a really cool place to hide multiple.
Back when we lived in California, there was like a jewelry shop, and what they would do is they would like hide a bag like for Christmas with like a little like trinket from the shop, and they would take a picture of it, like post on their Instagram. But then they would only post, they'd only take a picture of like so much of the background, and you can use do that as clues instead of something written, and you might get some more following on like the city's Facebook or Instagram or something.
So they'd be photo.
Yeah, and they would just go and try to like deduce which park it was based on like the background of the photo.
Good idea. I don't know how you do all that, but. that's the idea.
Taryn will be on maternity leave. Who's taking over Facebook? We might not have as much access to.
So is there a way to do all of this? So it's digital and they just send it in that way? Is that possible, or even is that something you want to do?
You could probably, because Steven's really into doing like the QR code stuff, you could probably put a QR code like right on the sign, have them scan it. And then it shows that they went to it digitally, and then you could figure out the prize from that or something.
I don't know how it works. So they had to find all of them
Mhm.
and then send it in. So I don't know how, because we could wait, didn't we put a QR code on the candy cane? Because that way, if they didn't know what the hunt was yet, didn't we add a sign to it that was like, you found a candy cane? It's part of the candy cane hunt. I think we added a QR code to the back. Maybe I'm crazy.
I think you might.
It's really possible. You have no idea my
I
brain.
just don't remember that.
I think we might have talked about it because we lost one or two of them,
Yeah. we
but I
have
don't
put-
think
And
they
we
were
like,
printed with.
and maybe we talked about it and we're like, oh, we should put a sign on it next time so people know it's part of a candy cane hunt and not just a random candy cane sign. I think that's what we did. Because that way, the people that aren't like going out to find them and see them are like, oh, this is a thing and there's more I can find.
Parks and Rec event.
Join us. Don't take our candy cane.
Well, it sounds like there's interest to do something.
Yeah.
In January. If we wanted to get a little more techie, we could get Steven involved, so it'd just be contacting Steven and say, hey, how could we do this differently? If we're not concerned about that, it would just be having written clues that could be available on the city website. They go to that, they take a photo, they you know, they would,
How did we do that? Because they took a picture. They submitted it somehow.
Did Jordan help us with it?
I think
he
Jordan
was
set up
doing
a
it.
website for us and they submitted the pictures through it. 'Cause we had to take a picture at each, I remember having to get the girls out at the car, take the picture and get them back in and rebuckled.
You could, instead of like, if they didn't want to take a picture, you could like write a word like on each sign and it can spell out like Merry Christmas or something. And then as long as they have like that phrase, then they could get the prize or something.
you're full of all kinds of great ideas.
I like that.
I could just be a couple letters. And if you get all those letters, it would spell something.
Yeah.
That's Takeda Parks. A lot of A.
It's a challenge.
Well, we want to
Okay.
do something, so,
September. We don't meet. Do we meet in November?
yeah, we can meet in November. So maybe at this point, since we do have at least a month to kind of decide, we could contact Stephen to just kind of get him in the loop, see what he thought. Is that where we want to go at this point? Okay,
Oh, I know what else. Back to trick or treat for just a second. Didn't we use the new like PA system thing from the city for the last run? Cause I brought like a megaphone thing from my old school to the first trick or treat. But didn't we use something from here for the other run? So we need that so we can start them too. Okay, so you have to pick that up too, Vincent.
Okay.
There's like a microphone
Yeah,
PA system
pretty
thing.
simple. Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I forgot that piece.
No, all good.
Why don't we do this with the winter event? I could reach out to Stephen and maybe we could do some emailing back and forth about some different options. So that when we come in November, we can make a decision.
In October, won't we?
In October, yes.
Yes.
So just to clarify for the list, I got the canopy, a table, power cord, PA system, banners.
There's also little signs, but I'm sure they're with the banners. They're like little yard sign.
Yeah, October. Cool. All right, so we're gonna do something. We just don't know how we're gonna do it yet. We do have all the candy canes, but we don't have to reuse those either. If we want to make something else, we can do that. Adventure tour, Stephen's not here for that update. Monthly meeting time change, question mark. Wednesday nights moving ahead are difficult for me. So I'm throwing out, is another night an option for you guys? Is Thursday nights, are Thursday nights an option?
I'm open whenever.
Once soccer is over. It's a little different for me.
Are there games? on
Thursday, actually Thursday is hard for me because we do have Girl Scouts. And that's my job and I'm the treasurer. So
Okay.
I have to do things.
Is there any sort of guidelines as far as time of day we meet? So I don't even know if earlier in the day is an option. If that makes it any better for anybody.
Yeah, if it's after 4, I'm good.
Anything after 4? Kalika, what does that do for you if you do something earlier?
My schedule is constantly in motion because my kids and Chris are constantly shifting, but I am potentially available at I don't have anything set on any one given day that I can say that's not gonna work.
And Gina, what time do you get off? Or when you're available?
3, I like anytime after 4, I can manage. And I could do, if we needed to change it to Thursdays, I could do it if it was earlier.
Well, and Wednesdays works for me if it's 4 or even 5. I just can't do 7. I have a commitment at 6:30. So if we wanted to keep it on Wednesdays and just bump it up,
It's fine with me.
I'd be all right though.
would we bump it up to 5?
5 would be better. That way, hopefully Eddie would be off to watch the girls. If not, and he's working overtime, they'll just sit there quietly. They'll be good.
I'm sure they would be.
We could bring
Question.
Corbin to get entertainment. There you go.
All right. We'll hope 5 would work for Steve, and I appreciate you guys considering a change. So moving ahead, Wednesdays at 5 o'clock will be our meetings. I don't know. You're just assuming there's never anybody else in here at 5 on Wednesdays? Okay. Good. All right, that'll be much better for me. Good. Anything else anybody'd like to bring up?
I was gonna suggest maybe having a second backup in case Stephen cannot meet earlier, like a second day if he was like 5 PM doesn't work for me. I don't know what his work schedule is, but if we could just have like a second alternate to make sure that maybe one
Okay.
of the two, if there's a different night of the week, Kevin still works, I know. He works in his kids. So.
Yeah, Thursday works for me,
And I can do,
but not,
well,
it just doesn't work for you at all,
yeah, it's
right?
not,
Thursdays, the planning commission meets some months, the 4th Thursday.
Okay,
So if you did like a 3rd Thursday or something, it'd probably be.
but Thursday doesn't work for Gina, so we could consider Tuesday. Tuesday, if we needed to keep it at 7 for Stephen. And it would need to be, I'm busy first, second, third Tuesdays, so it'd have to be the 4th Tuesdays. What does that look like on the city calendar?
I think it's okay most of the time. I think there's something in October though, scheduled already.
Are we more important?
But if you did it at 5. The transportation open house is already scheduled for that. That Thursday or that Tuesday in October, but the rest of the, I think it's just, that was a random one-off thing, so.
Yeah, okay. So maybe from then on forward, Tuesdays would work. So
Yeah.
let's get to Steve and see if those Wednesdays at 5 will work. If not, we'll go to Plan B with the Tuesday.
At
Thank you,
7,
Kalika.
Tuesday at 7 or?
Yeah, 4th Tuesdays, and then the Wednesdays would be the
I don't know.
4th Wednesday.
Yeah, it works.
Okay. All right, we have a plan. Thank you guys for all the reading you did on that whole Campanella Park thing. I don't know if everybody's happy, but maybe some people are happy and we'll just move it ahead. All right, thank you guys. We'll adjourn. Thanks, Sharon.
you.